Keep on press, push forward, never let the wicked get you down. Gotta make a step. Keep on step. Some other time them will get caught up in the moment. So overwhelmed, I've been trying but I don't know where I am going. So I hold my head and I cry, I don't want to. Tell myself, oh, I can't do. But remember, we must never lose, oh. Have a purpose in a life. Open up your eyes, analyze and realize that you got your powers inside. Stand sturdy on the journey, can we live it and we learn it. The victory sweet when you know the battle was the furnace. Why? Like a fire and corruption make we burn it. Them can't stop when I feel. Hey, the road rocky never says I'll sweet. Would I quit already if me heart weak? Youth gonna last, dark times I go pass. Never listen to them when them say you can't do it. Remind that it's good to be humble and it's good to be bold. Stay true to who you are because it's good for the soul. Them never really want to make it if truth to be told. But Jah have a plan for you. Have a purpose in your life. Open up your eyes, analyze and realize that you got your powers inside. Stand sturdy on the journey, can we live it and we learn it. The victory sweet when you know the battle was a furnace. Why? Like a fire and corruption make we burn it. Them can't stop when you feel. Them try to keep you down, one day we have.
A special good afternoon to everyone and welcome to another episode of Team Unity's Roundtable Discussion. Today I'm on my own and we'll be talking a bit of the bus service recent increases approved by the Cabinet in prices. We'll dive a little bit into it. We'll talk about being a bus driver. I'll make my comments being son of a former taxi driver with some knowledge of the industry. I myself have taken part in it as well. Can be a taxi driver's son and be a driver and not actively taking part in the work. So I'll tell you about it. We'll dive a little bit into the work involved and so on. But before we go further, I just want to give a shout out to the family of Miss Laura of Pilit-Savan. That is Miss Angelina Laura. I think she was related to the late Baron, who had the Baron Enterprises as the parent of Beryl and Lester Baron, my former classmates in the Dominica Grammar School. Yeah, so Miss Angelina Laura of Pilit-Savan, just give a shout out to her family. Sylvie, who used to work with me at Mapping Telecoms Broadcasting, now working at Flu, and of course the rest of her family, Sylvan and so on and so on. The grandchildren, Kaifa, Kieran, and the rest of the others. Just hold strong. You love your mom, grandmother, and stay true to the memories that she had while she was there. But yeah, guys, bus driver services. Let's dive into it. If you allow me to share the news article from the incomparable international local media house, MO News, with the CEO, Miss Emmeline Anselm. And she had a story on the cabinet approval of the new bus fares and taxi rates. See, the cabinet approved the implementation of new bus fares and taxi rates according to Section 32, the Vehicles and Road Traffic Act of 1993. That's when it was put into operation, right? And these scheduled fares will take effect from March 15th, 2023. And the Dominica Transport Board made submissions to the cabinet, to a cabinet task force, and based on the recommendation of the Airport Taxi Association, will increase taxi rates, and representatives of the Bus Drivers Association for increased rates of buses traveling island-wide, because the cabinet seeks to regularize rates which have been in effect for some time, particularly on the airport road. So yes, persons have been, I see there have been rates that have been charged for a while, and they just want to make it official. And they also use a benchmark schedule of fares from 2008 as a recommended benchmark for the increases for bus fares ranging from $1 to $1.50 for longer routes from Roseau to communities across the island, to 25 cents and 75 cents for shorter routes and inter villages. So between Kinfield and Maho, for example, Maho and Senjo, Marigot and Kalinago territory. Right, the recommendations were based on the rising cost of fuel and other factors, including the cost of purchasing new vehicles, increasing costs of spare parts and maintenance, and increasing costs of insurance premiums. The board also recommended and cabinet approved the regularization of increased rates for shuttle and hired services from the Douglas Charles Airport through various routes across the island. Yeah, and I can tell you, this was well needed. Well, let's before we go too much into that. Let's talk. Let's talk. What's it like to being a bus driver? The bus driver is a person who, well, the bus drivers come from various backgrounds, but the bus driver is one who is easily able to get to know persons in the community where he plies his trade. It enables him to get to know the public in a way more in-depth way, more than any other occupation would allow. Yes, even the politician. But the bus driver has a close seat with the person of the community. Probably I should have been a bus driver before I ventured on this journey. Well, probably I am. I did because I did do some taxi for my dad. It's so I can consider myself a quasi bus driver, taxi driver. Then I've done the work. Yeah, but if you want to build social skills, that's an excellent job to help you hone social skills, because you get to know people from various forms of life and so on. But it's a very stressful job. It's a very costly job as well. Costly job as well, because I mean, when you look at the rising costs of operation, fuel goes up and down, more up than down. The fuel affects the price of everything else. So if it's more costly for the boat to bring the tires to Dominica that we have to buy to put on the vehicles, buses and taxis being ones who have to change more frequently because they're more used on the roads. The prices of those are going to go up as well. The buses and taxis have to service their vehicles more frequently than a regular vehicle owner because of higher use. So of course, with the increased cost of doing those, we need to be considerate to those persons who are the ones, the backbones of our community, getting our students home on time, school on time, and safely, to the airport on time and safely as well. We you if okay, you from Lapland, you want to get to the airport, you have a 6 o'clock flight. More than likely that bus or taxi, sorry, will have to pick you up at 4 o'clock to bring you to the airport to get you ready to check in for 5 o'clock or 4:30, 5:15, 5:20 for the latest. And when you get into that vehicle, it's dark outside, it's cold, you don't really want to be up at that time. So naturally you're gonna fall asleep. That taxi driver has to be responsible for your life to get you to your destination. That means the airport, to help you start your journey for the day, wherever you're going to, whether you're going international or you're traveling regional, wherever it is that you want to get to. That driver has to get you to the airport safely and responsibly on time. When you get into that taxi, you fall asleep. The next time you know where you are at the airport. What happens between when you leave Roseau or Scottshead and you get to the airport? You don't know most of the time. That taxi driver has to get you there safely and on time. Now, depending on who you are, you may not want to be in a taxi with everybody else. You may want to be there on your own, so you have to pay for your cost is going to be higher because you're paying for a taxi rate as opposed to a shuttle. The government has increased the rates on those as well. Those taxi drivers, I can tell you, they need it. They need it. I've done it a few times over the years, and it's been something that, I mean, I have no issues with it. I like it. My only issue is the sitting and waiting part, when you're waiting for persons to come back. You're picking up someone. If you don't have somebody that you schedule to pick up, and you're just sitting and waiting. That's the only part, because I'm a person who always on the go. I rather always have something to do. So yeah, but the bus drivers, going back to buses, they also take care of our students. I remember me being a student of the Dominica Grammar School. We we get out, and we used to, well, it's downstairs Mr. Stowe's office. We used to have the pizza shop. Well, now it's moved across. We used to hang out there and wait for Reds, Dorian, make sure we go on the bus with the music, the bus with the AC, right? And you're comfortable, you're nice, the bus looking good. And all of us we have a story to tell from school, or maybe a guy we have a little girlfriend for going to another school, and that's the meetup point. The bus driver is also responsible for getting our students to school and back home safely. The bus driver is the principal. If there's some disagreement, the bus driver, being the adult in the room, settle disagreement. So I mean, yes, let's give respect to our buses and taxi drivers. They ensure the safety and maintain behavior while being on the bus. They handle all these things simultaneously, and yes, it can be stressful. And while you're driving in the busy traffic, you have two girls at the back up in the seat behind you making noise, and bus driver has to be able to handle all of that, right? Um, let's go into the rates. These are the rates effective March 15th. You see Roseau to various form areas of the, and when we're done with this, we will have the rates put up on the party page, so you can view it and have a look at it for yourself. See the taxi rates from the going to the various locations to Douglas Charles Airport. Daily C's being the more expensive um, rates, $250. Of course, that's easier. EC from Daily C's. That's a short the higher service from Daily C. You want to be by yourself. You don't want to be a shuttle. You're from Daily C's. The bus driver is in. The taxi driver is in Roseau. $250 from Daily C's to the airport. He doesn't pick up anybody else but you and whoever is associated with you, and he brings you to the airport. That driver has to do it safely. When you an average vehicle, the servicing of that vehicle is about 6 months. Every 6 months, 5 months, every 40,000, 10,000 kilometers. You require your vehicle requires a service. It takes you about 3 months to do to 4 months, 5 months. Bus drivers, taxi drivers, that can happen in a month because they're up and down. They're up and down, and particularly for those going to the airport where they go those long distances, they have to service their vehicles more frequently. And not just the increasing price of fuel, but the oils, the tires, spark plugs, bushings, shocks, and we have some wonderful, well, or roads. I mean, yes, they're being improved over time, but we know how our roads are. So that this can be very hard on the vehicles, and you want to go on a good working vehicle. I can remember my brother, he being a taxi driver, so he took up the trade, but he also being a mechanic. He used to have to spend some time working on his vehicle, working on his car, every so often, changing the ball joints, change, changing the bushings, drop links. Those prices go up, and for a very long time they haven't had increases. Now that is one side of it. That is one side of it. The prices for the bus drivers need to go up, but what about our persons, the consumers? Yes, we agree that the bus drivers and the taxi drivers need their increases in rates. But from a TUD standpoint, while we would encourage the increases for the drivers and the taxi drivers, we also have to feel for the persons in the community. How are we going to support the increases, and what measures are put in place? So this is why, as evidence in our manifesto presentation in the last general election, we looked at building our economy in Dominica. So the farmer could make more money. The the housewife could get better her home would have more from her husband working as a yes taxi driver. The person who is a civil servant, increases in rates for them. the person who is a manufacturer, they being able to sell their goods internationally. A community government will be pushing all those things across the various sectors of the economy, get more money rolling in the country, so that all of that could be maintained. It's not just increasing the prices for the bus drivers and the taxi drivers, but who's going to sustain it so that it will be maintained and persons could be able to, instead somebody boy to go and pay $100 to a taxi driver. Let me go on the Marigot bus stop and pay $10 instead, and give a man your man extra money just to bring me to the airport, and I'll drag my taxi. You may not want to do that. Persons need to be able to be comfortable to afford those rates. So not just bringing up the fares and taxis and so on, but making it be sustainable in a community. So all those things we would be looking at and making life more comfortable for us in Dominica. And not and we here talking about the taxis and bus drivers, but we also have to think of the truckers. I'm a trucker as well. Truckers have not had a rate increase in years. As a matter of fact, the rates that has been used by the truck drivers is something that has been established since in the times of the late Dame Mary Virginia Charles. So that is something our government needs to look at coming soon, and not wait for the. But we'll talk about that at an appointed time. But I just wanted to mention that being an important aspect that we have to look at as well. So yes, the rates are increases are good for the bus drivers. It's also, to be sustainable, has to be looked at from the client's standpoint. So we have to make sure that our people can afford to pay those rates and be comfortable doing it and be able to continue living their life without any issues. All right. I'm not going to be here for long today. I just wanted to touch base with you guys. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to hit us up. We respond to our comments. Um, I look forward to being here another time. I'll be here next week. Possibly we'll be talking about. No, I'll keep that. We'll announce that when the time comes. But look forward to the next program. It's going to be an exciting one. I have some interesting guests lined up who will be coming to talk about our discussion for that time. Well, folks, I will see you at the next appointed time. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in at the next time. I'm your host, Carlos Charles, the Unity Leader. Thank you for watching.